Growth of what? For whom? At what cost? Paid by whom? What is the real need here? And what is the most direct and efficient way for those who have that need to satisfy it? How much is enough? What are the obligations to share? These questions were asked 50 years ago in the book Limits to Growth. 50 years, and we are still searching for the answers. 50 years, and the leaders are still making fancy speeches, but then breaking their promises.
50 years ago, this issue was about the world that future generations would inherit. Today, it also has everything to do with the world we need to inhabit.
I can remember first discovering Limits to Growth and that sense of enormous relief that someone was telling the truth about our economy at last. I recall how inspiring and helpful it was in enabling me to make the case that the pursuit of endless growth doesn't make us happier, quite the contrary, and it's destroying our planet.
The book impressed on me one thing: the need to drive system change at the heart of our economic and development model, for it to be more sustainable and more equitable.
As our natural world is pushed to the brink and the grip of climate change tightens, we need to start a brand new era in which capital and economic growth are not the sole determinants of what happens in society. Rather, the concept of an inclusive green economy centered on our ability to take decisive climate action and protect our natural world while addressing inequalities must permeate every nation, from governments to individuals.
I shifted my career to focus on international law, governance, and policy, having seen that the decisions global leaders make are critical in determining our future. This book is scientific proof that the health of the planet is intimately connected to the health of our people.
50 years ago, in 1972, I was a young 12-year-old kid in Costa Rica. I didn't know that two big events happened that year that will have eventually a big impact in my personal and professional career. One is the UN Conference on Human Environment in Stockholm that sets the basis for the environmental movement. And the other very important was a report called The Limit of Growth done by this Club of Rome, which is a mix of thinkers, scientists, and business people who came with this report questioning the economic model and the impact on our natural capital.
The Limits of Growth, when it was first published, was recognized by many as essentially a thought-provoking look at the future. Many have argued about the merits of some of the arguments, but one thing is very clear. On the basic assumptions of the book and its forecast for what the future would look like, it got it spot on. 50 years later, sitting here in Asia, I am reminded that those basic understandings, those fundamental arguments, are as relevant as they are then as they are today.
Awareness of the limits to growth has in many ways shaped my entire life, and given that it has been proved again and again to be astonishingly accurate, and that we're now approaching the part of the projection in which we might start to see signs of societal collapse, maybe it's really time to start paying attention.
As we grapple with geopolitical crises, cascading shocks from the pandemic, as well as gross inequalities, I remain an impatient optimist that we can find the right tools and levers to affect change for people and nature.